Welcome back to Capitol Tonight. I'm Susan Arbetter. For years, the broken promise of foundation aid has been a rallying cry for education advocates. It has taken 12 years, but thanks to a federal windfall and strong tax receipts, Governor Hochul's budget includes the second year of a foundation aid increase. Joining us to talk about the education budget is the chair of the Senate Ed Committee, Shelley Mayer. Welcome back, Senator. Good to see you.
Thank you, Susan. Pleasure to be here. And I would add, not only the factors you mentioned, but the fact that the Senate and the Assembly absolutely put their foot down with Governor Cuomo last year to get an agreement to fully fund foundation aid. It was a huge victory, and we're thrilled that Governor Hochul is continuing down that path.
So I'm wondering, this is an old formula. What do you think the legislature's interest is in updating it?
Well, we have 2 more years to fully phase it in under the agreement that we've reached, and the governor is on board. So this year schools will get to 80% if they were way below that, and next year to 100% of what they're owed. There's a lot of the formula data that needs to be updated, including the fact it's 2000 census data, that's the basis, and other things that are just no longer the way we should measure need, which was the original premise. I've had a series of roundtables on that around the state. The state education department is going to, I think, ask for money to fund a study to look at how to update it. We're clearly going to have to update it, but let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater. The concept of need ought to be the basis for how we fund schools, and we need to update that.
There were a few disappointments in the budget, even though the budget is very generous. For example, career and technical education investments were notably absent. Why is that so important to you?
Well, for many years, pre-COVID, it was always my feeling that there were these opportunities for kids who might want to get an associate's degree or go to community college, and then they could get a good paying job in the career or technical sector of our economy, which was doing very well in New York. Post-COVID, it's even more compelling. Not every kid is going to go to a 4-year school. No. They may not want to. It may not be right for them. And there is a career path of a good middle-class job out there and jobs to be had. And we need to invest more significantly in career and technical education. I'm confident we'll work with the governor to push that into the budget. But, that was a disappointment that there's not more in it as part of a workforce and economic development strategy.
What are you looking for in terms of a number?
Well, there is a formula for career and technical education in high school. I happen to have one of the best in my district in Yonkers, an old kind of trade school that is fantastic. We want to see that replicated, as well as ensure that high schools throughout New York, including the city of New York, have real ample opportunity for kids to choose these skills and to be encouraged to think of them as opportunities instead of sort of rejects. It's a totally outdated mindset. We need to change it.
There was another element of the budget that some advocates were unhappy with, that the governor funded childcare with $1.4 billion, but that's about a quarter of what advocates were hoping for. Is this an issue that you might be willing to raise taxes for?
Well, I don't know, how much. We will look at how much revenue is there. Obviously, much more than was projected last year. The fact is, New York is doing well financially, even in the face of all the challenges we face. But if we don't invest heavily in childcare for infants to 4-year-olds, we are missing the boat. One, for school readiness, particularly in many of our communities. Full-day pre-K has been a priority of the Senate Democratic majority last year. We're going to push for that. But frankly, working parents, particularly working mothers, are at wit's end without access to childcare.
Well, they can't get to work. They can't go to work.
They can't get to work, or they can't work. Frankly, if they have the opportunity, the kind of job that's work at home, they can't do it while taking care of 2 toddlers or an infant and a toddler. The fact is, we are missing an opportunity for economic investment as well as school readiness by not investing more significantly in pre-K and in childcare from birth on.
So Senator Brisport, for example, who we've had on the show multiple times, has a bill that calls for about $5 billion in investment. Is that what you would want to see?
Well, I'm very interested in both Senator Brisport and Senator Ramos's idea to get to universal childcare. It may
Yes.
take us, it may be an incremental step, but they both have highlighted something that has been out there. And frankly, for probably 35 years, I've been talking about childcare. And frankly, until we had a woman governor and a woman leader in the Senate majority, it wasn't even on the list. So I'm very hopeful that this is our year to really start to get there. But we can't have a blind eye to that.
My guest tonight has